I'm Alex Larson, dietitian, Ironman finisher, and host of Endurance Eats, the podcast where we break down the science of endurance nutrition and turn it into clear, practical nutrition advice to revolutionize how you think about fueling your body. So grab a seat, or keep moving if you're out training, and let's get started. Welcome back to the Endurance Eats podcast. Today I've got two of my favorite people joining me, my very own dietitian team, Mary Wirtz and Hannah Cooley, for a conversation that every endurance athlete needs at some point: how to eat well while traveling. Whether you're heading out on a family vacation, navigating back-to-back work travel, or squeezing training into a weekend getaway, it can be tough to stay consistent with your nutrition when you're not in your normal routine. It is 100% possible to stay fueled, feel good, and still have fun while on the go. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about traveling and eating well with that endurance athlete lifestyle. It's something that I hear from athletes right away when they are exploring working with us. They're like, I don't know how to eat while I'm traveling, whether it's for work or vacation. So let's kind of talk through some different scenarios. I want to start with first the traveling itself, and then we'll talk about once people get to their destination. So let's talk about planes, TSA. What do you guys notice about the struggles of traveling by plane?
I mean, I just laugh at this one because I've been that carb loading athlete that's sneaking burritos through TSA, hoping they don't touch it and taint it because I need to consume it. TSA can pose challenges with their rules, right? You want to be a diligent athlete. You want to have a process in place. You want to have that system so that you can reach for quick, nutritious snacks that support your goals. But obviously they have the fluid restrictions. Some things you need refrigeration that can make it more challenging. But I would say by and large, with the athletes that I've been working with lately on having a plan in place, we talk about good, realistic snack options to keep on hand, because there's almost always going to be an instance where you're either apt to go too long without eating, or you're kind of at the mercy of other people or what choices are offered. So travel-friendly snacks that I encourage athletes to consider having on hand: jerky, oatmeal packs or oatmeal cups, protein powder that you can easily mix into a quick protein drink once you get through, or into other things when you're traveling. For our plant-based athletes, dried edamame is a fan favorite, or dried beans.
When you say dry edamame, there's like a dry roasted, and it's usually salted, like seasoned edamame that you can buy. When we say dry, it's dry. Like, you need to make sure you have some liquid, so make sure you refill your water bottle or grab some sort of beverage if you're going to eat it on a plane, because it's pretty dry.
It is dry. And also, if you're feeling brave and get the wasabi flavor, it is highly spiced. Forewarning. I'm warning you now, yeah. But I love it. And it's such a good protein and fiber-rich snack for a lot of our based athletes, and cheap.
Also, cheap like a little like PSA, like be careful with the super fiber-rich snacks like on a plane, right? Because I have to tell you, personal story. I had like an entire bag of Hippies, those like chickpea-based snacks on the plane.
Yeah.
And I know that I did not drink enough water because my stomach
felt,
I know, right? I'm like, oh, we're getting some fiber, we're getting some protein. It's like,
it's more filling and
filling, right? Like a Cheeto vibe, but it's not. My stomach felt like a blown up chip bag that's like expanded in like the sun or at altitude. Everything expands at altitude, right? So just with plain snacks, yes, we want to be careful with, let's get protein. Let's make sure you're getting some fiber, but also make sure that these snacks work for you before you try them on a plane.
Yeah, totally. Especially if you tend to get really constipated while traveling. Like, maybe that fiber will help move things along, or maybe it will be a world of hurt. So just be a little careful and make sure you're staying hydrated. And maybe go for a little walk, because as our pelvic core therapists say, motion is lotion. So, like, keep that digestive system going. I like to bring an empty water bottle through TSA and then refill it as soon as I get through. That way, I stay hydrated. I don't drink alcohol, but I would usually tell my athletes, like, don't drink alcohol on a plane. Like, that's just like something you can have later on, but definitely not on a plane. I love Chex Mix. I love to have some sort of like beef jerky. Those are usually my two for sure go-tos when I get on a plane. By car, game on. right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I can load that
Absolutely.
suck. Like, I can have a whole snack bag and a cooler.
Alex is rolling up in the minivan.
Yes.
Cooler, stash. What's in there,
guys,
Alex?
My minivan is the greatest vehicle in the world because I love it so much.
I've heard that from so many people. They're so hesitant to get a van, and then once they do, they don't go back. They can't.
I was never hesitant. My husband, the first time I ever met him, we were like teenagers. He's like, I'm never owning a van. And I'm like, if you have kids, like, you're going to own a minivan. He's like, nope, I'm never going to do it. And then the day that I was like, dude, my car's kind of like the turbo on it was going out. I was like, I need a new car. I was like, I think we need to get a minivan. And we were buying a house at the time, and I was the person that was going to like put my name on the loan. I was like, I can't buy a car right now. You're going to have to buy the van and have it in your name. And he, like, the look on his face, the realization, and he did it. And he loves that van now. But
what a trooper. Reed is just a trooper. Shout out. Is he listening? Is he listening right now?
He doesn't listen to this.
Doesn't he want to make smart choices while traveling?
No, because he has me.
He's
With
like,
your
she's got
stock cooler, what is in it, Alex? Tell us.
Yes, so usually for sure some sort of like Fairlife Core Power drinks. I love the vanilla flavor and the strawberry banana. Those are like my two go-tos. The chocolate is fine, but it's too chocolatey for me. I'm like very particular about how much chocolate is in there. But it's not bad. Usually if I mix it with some like vanilla and chocolate, then it's fine. Sandwich stuff is a go-to. Greek yogurt cups. Usually I'm always trying to like pack the protein because the carb foods like this, like the Chex Mix, the pretzel, like those types of things are super easy and light to pack with.
Cheese sticks, Baby Bells. There's so many good yogurt drinkable bottles now too. If you're not like, if you forget to pack spoons and cutlery, and talking to all of our male athletes that aren't typically as good at packing as our female athletes.
Once we talk about like once we're at the destination, I have to tell my story about when Mary, you and I were at that conference last year. And what happened after you left. Bring a cooler, ice packs, keep things cold, make sure that you're not like putting yourself at risk for like a foodborne illness because you kept things like out of the temperature zone. And then also hitting up the gas stations. What are our favorite things to look for at gas stations?
Gas stations, I think, can be really tricky because there is a range of what's available, right?
Yeah.
So
if you're in the Midwest, Quick Trip is like the best option.
I was just going to say that. There is a million options at Quick Trip, including a lot of fresh options. Like if you wanted to get like the little cup of grapes, or they've got bananas, a lot of fresh fruit. They have yogurts there. They even have deli meat. There's so many great things. There's oftentimes like a protein section too, where they have the beef sticks. They have some protein bars. They have those core power shakes. And then you run into some really small town gas stations, and the options are very, very limited.
Yeah. Or like restaurants. Any favorites with like traveling at like a I guess a typical fast food restaurant?
I mean, I could always put down Chipotle. I will for this. Yeah. I had an athlete that was their meal prep. Each week they would like go and buy 4 meals from Chipotle and then eat half of it at a time. And I'm like, that's genius. It's like cheaper than most, meal delivery kits. But, and this is a conversation realistically I have with most athletes, is you can find reasonable choices anywhere. You really can. Chick-fil-A, Jimmy John's, Subway,
I was just going to say Jimmy John's.
Chipotle, any Mexican type of restaurant is quite easy to do. I mean, Alex, I know you've talked about McDonald's before. Like they even have their oatmeal and their...
I love McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
I mean...
Starbucks, another good one.
Traveling can be tricky, but when we have this idea that it's going to be hard, I'm really hesitant to say that traveling is hard. I think it can be a little tricky. It can throw challenges and curveballs, but I would not agree that it's hard.
I think you have to be intentional.
Yeah, totally.
You have to go in with the intention of like, I want to feel good day in and day out on this vacation, so I'm going to therefore eat well but choose things that you enjoy, but are still going to offer you what you need. I would say Arby's actually has some really good like chicken wraps with like veggies in them. Like I said, love McDonald's oatmeal. Sometimes just having some salty fries, but then having like a little bit healthier entree kind of has the best of both worlds there. So you're still getting some of those like treat indulgence things, but then also getting the protein that you need at a meal too.
Right.
I also think going in with like expectations, right? It's not eating at home. You don't have full control, but also just making the best of the situation and then not feeling guilty about it. Because so many people feel so much guilt or shame. Like, oh, I had to eat out all the time. I felt like I didn't do a great job. We're not shooting for perfection here. We're just shooting for you to be well fed and feel good at the end of the day and come home and get back into the swing of things in your at-home routine without feeling like it takes you a week or two to get back into that.
Absolutely. Appreciate and honor that flexibility. I think sometimes the hardest part is giving yourself permission to have that flexibility when you're away from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we get to the destination, once we've gotten ourselves to where we need to go, what do we look for with our, like, I mean, Mary, you had this good point beforehand, like about choosing accommodations wisely. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, I mean, if you're at all able to choose a lodging situation where you have some ability to cook or prepare or have a fridge, have a microwave, whether that's an Airbnb or even in a hotel, many hotel or suites offer that. That will give you a few more options in terms of once you get to your destination, can you make a quick pit stop at a Target or a Walmart or a quick grocery store that's within walking distance? So that way you can easily have some things on hand that you can piece together for snacks or meal times. The other strategy would be if you're choosing a hotel, is there breakfast available, right? That way you can have a continental breakfast and perhaps, take a couple extra apples like everybody does or little mini boxes of cereal to snack on later.
Yeah, and you don't have to do the waffle at the continental breakfast. But usually there's some sort of like yogurt cup, some fruit, usually a bagel or muffins or something like that. Like look for your carbs, look for some protein. I really like the hard-boiled eggs that they usually have. I'll just put a bunch of salt on them because I just like salt on my hard-boiled eggs. And those types of things can really like balance out your meal. And then if you have to swing by a gas station or a grocery store that's nearby, usually I have my athletes in advance of where they're staying, just scope out the area of what is there. Is there a market? Is there a grocery store? Where can you just go on a quick little jaunt, go pick up a few things that are just going to help fill in the gaps in your day, especially if you're eating breakfast, lunch, dinner out and you don't have as much control. Make the best of the situation.
Absolutely.
Be proactive. Do a little bit of homework. Mary, when you and I went to that conference in Kansas City, the first thing I think we did on day one was we went and got lunch, and it was like that little cafe where I think I got some like fruit and some cottage cheese was on their menu and a sandwich, like a yummy sandwich, and it was really very like nutritionally balanced. So I was like, great, okay, good start to the like few days that I'm away from home. And then we walked down to that grocery store, and it was like a fancy grocery store. So they had like all sorts of like hot, freshly made foods and some like salads and sandwiches that you could grab and bring back to your hotel and keep in your fridge.
Like 27 different flavors of bubbly water. But this conversation is so timely. I had this exact conversation with an athlete yesterday. So she lives in Mexico. She's traveling to the United States for work last night. And she sent me a picture this morning. So our plan, we talked about it in advance, was she was just going to make a quick pit stop. It doesn't need to be at a fancy grocery store even. She was going to stop at Target and get some things to just keep in her mini fridge, because she knows historically her old self, when she's traveling for work, higher stress job, she craves more sweets. Coca-Cola is like her MO, and donuts. And it's just like kind of like a nightmare really for her traveling. She sent me a picture this morning, and I think I shared it with you, Alex. She had edamame, she had protein bars, baby carrots, fruit, freeze-dried fruit, all of these things that we talked about. I'm like, this isn't even...
She even had some like chocolate-covered strawberries, those like really delicious that they're at Costco and everywhere. They're so delicious. And so when you're like craving something sweet, like you can have a couple of those and feel really satisfied.
Yeah, she shared that photo, and I'm like, I hope you're so proud, because this will only continue to get easier the more that you do it. It's like polishing any other skill that we talk about. It will continue to get easier with consistency, and it will absolutely pay off.
Eating well is a skill for sure.
Yeah. And the planning is a skill too, where it's like for you, Mary, it's so second nature. You don't have to think about it. It's just autopilot. Like when you're getting ready for a trip, you know that the planning is involved. You're going to take care of the food. Same thing that you and I always do. Like I'm always practicing in the sense of getting my supplements ready when we're about to travel. So I know like I'm taking my magnesium at night so that we can keep the bowels on track when we are traveling. Right. So, I like that you said that, Mary, too, polishing a skill, because it is going to get easier and easier as time goes on, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I'm obsessed about food when I'm traveling, like especially if I go to like a conference or like a some sort of like retreat. I'm always like, what are they like? What is the schedule of meals? Are they going to feed me enough?
Am I going to need to bring?
Like it's just like constant. Like I was at a retreat earlier this year, and they had like a little race day for on the second day, and I wasn't racing, but I was just kind of like hanging out for the day. And the lady that was serving the lunch was so stingy with the portion sizes, and I was like, can you like give me a little bit more? And she's like, nope, I have to wait for everyone to come through before we offer seconds. And I was like, okay, thinking like this is not enough. And I was so mad because then she didn't even offer seconds. She just took the food away like an hour later. And I like loved this retreat I was at, but in the review, like the feedback form afterwards, I was like, the lady at lunch on Saturday was real stingy with the chili, and I had to eat all of my kids' snacks from my purse. I was like horrified, and luckily like we went out to dinner that night, and I was able to kind of like make up for the nutrition, but I was mad.
Oh man. I would say though, for many people are not endurance athletes, right? So they don't have that increased appetite at baseline. And that's when some of those snacks that you previously packed that you made it through TSA can be really handy, is having several of those on hand, because one of the hardest places to be is when you're at the mercy of other people and what they're serving. And maybe dinner's not for another 4 hours and you're already sitting there hungry.
The worst.
Right? And you can't get out. You're stuck in that boring conference. You want to move. You need a snack. You don't have access to one. And so again, it goes back to really having a process that supports you and your goals. It doesn't need to be overwhelmingly glamorous or complex. It can be even something as simple as jerky and crackers, jerky and an apple, a protein bar and an apple. To me, it doesn't matter as long as we have something there to avoid going too long without eating, because then you're likely to set yourself up then for not the best nutrition choices, wildly overeating, perhaps binge drinking if you're feeling stressed and tired from the conference.
Yeah. And I think too, wherever you're traveling to, for me, because I'm such a foodie, I'm like, okay, what is this area known for? That's going to be my indulgence, like, or I love sushi and I don't get to have it very often. So it's like, if I'm out, on the West Coast, like California area, I'm like, I'm going out for sushi, because like the Midwest is not known for like having their sushi's fine, but like when you're close to the ocean, you're going to just have a little bit better quality and fresher stuff. So I will seek out the things that are that city is known for, or that area is known for. Like when we were in Kansas City, Mary, like we were looking at like barbecue places, and I think we did go out for sushi one night, and have those indulgences and those experiences, and make sure that you're feeling like you're also enjoying life too. So have the best of both worlds.
For athletes that you have tracking, do you have them track when on vacation or not?
I don't usually, unless they choose to. if they want to, I'm like, that's fine. But I also want them to feel like they can trust themselves to be intentional about their nutrition. And we will have a conversation about alcohol. That's a big one too.
How do you have that conversation, Alex?
Well, moderation by definition is for women, it's 1 drink. For men, it's 2 per day. So I'll say that's the definition. And it kind of depends on the person. Like, are they going to an all-inclusive beach resort where they love to have, pina coladas and daiquiris and all of that? If that's the case, I will mention to them, like, okay, I need you to stay hydrated throughout the day so that you're not putting yourself at risk for being dehydrated and feeling really terribly. Usually I'll recommend that they're drinking plenty of water throughout the day and then spreading those alcoholic drinks throughout the day as well, so that they're not getting themselves in a sticky situation that way, and making sure that they're choosing things that they truly want and not just like drinking to drink. You know what I mean? Like being intentional about it that way too. I think the hardest discussion I've had with athletes about alcohol is when they go on business trips and they have to like entertain clients out at like a bar or a steakhouse or something like that. And they feel very obligated to drink in that setting because it's part of the like entertainment culture in like that business setting. I can think of one athlete in particular where I was like, I don't think people care.
No, I don't even know if other people notice.
I don't think so. I think it's all like in people's head. They're like, oh, they're probably... Being sober is a lot more trendy nowadays than it was even like 5 years ago.
Yes.
There's a lot of reasons why people don't drink these days, but I do understand like that pressure from people. And if someone does mention something, just be prepared to like say, I don't know, like I'm on an antibiotic, I'm not supposed to drink, or like make up some excuse, or just say like, oh, my wife and I are trying to be sober, or my wife's doing a dry month and I'm just supporting her. Like,
or it's gonna give me diarrhea tomorrow while I'm logging 8 miles. Okay, I don't want to be shitting my pants on the side of the road.
Yeah, I mean, like make up some sort of excuse, or just be like, I just don't feel like it right now. Or I mean, people are that bothered by it. I think that's a them problem and not a you problem.
What would you say to the athlete that says, I need that drink because it helps me relax in this kind of setting?
1 drink, or even just like having 1 drink and sipping it really slowly and maybe not even finishing it is a better route if they really feel like they need to have
I think that's a fabulous idea. And it comes back to the idea of having a plan in place beforehand and having that self-talk. And that way you're establishing those boundaries in advance. You're not saying, no, this food is off limits, especially if it's something that you like dessert. Love dessert. Am I going to eat 3 desserts? Am I going to eat 2 desserts? Am I going to eat the entire dessert? Probably not, right? Because I'm not going to feel very well physically if I do that. But I'm going to allow myself the dessert and maybe only eat a third of it, or enjoy a third of it, or share it with my kiddos, or whatever that may look like. But I feel like having those boundaries, having that self-talk in advance, better outlines this plan and helps to guide choices overall.
Yeah, and a lot of our athletes are exercising while they are traveling. They're bringing running shoes with, or they're using the hotel weight room or treadmill or whatever it is. And you want to still be able to get in that training sessions while you're still traveling. And in order to feel great for those, you need to be able to eat well too. Let me tell my story here real quick, and let this be a lesson to everyone. So, Mary, when we were at that conference in Kansas City, you had left early to go back to your girls. And I was like, oh, evening to myself here. I'm going to go to that fancy grocery store. I'm going to get myself a nice little healthy dinner, maybe some dessert, bring it back to the hotel room, watch TV after like I shower, maybe like do some self-care stuff, and then like just zone out by myself in a hotel room after like, I'd been...
You're like, stare at the wall. I just want to stare at the wall.
I just like was so excited to have some like time alone to myself without any kids bugging me. And so I went and I got my food and I go back to the hotel room. I shower real quick. I get everything else set, and I realized I had gotten like a Cobb salad. I realized, 1, I forgot the dressing. So I'm like, okay. this is going to be real great. But because there was like all sorts of other stuff other than the lettuce, like I made it work. But then I also realized I forgot a fork.
Uh-oh.
So
salad sushi with your hands.
So I was like, I washed my hands real well, and then I just like sat there with my hands and ate this like Cobb
I was going to ask if you just went face first into that.
And like it was just such a nightmare because I had nothing. We're at that conference with all these other people, and I was like being antisocial, not doing any of their evening activities. So it's like I can't show myself out of this room. And so, yeah, I ate my food without dressing or a fork or anything, just with my hands like a barbarian.
You enjoyed it mindfully.
Yes, but now I tell all of my clients, I'm like, if you're going to go to the grocery store and then eat in your hotel room, like, do not forget the condiments and the silver and like some sort of like utensils to eat.
You know what's funny? And listeners can judge me all they want, but as a mom, I carry a spoon with me at all times. I always
that's a brilliant idea.
I bet there's got to be something on Amazon where it's like a little travel like utensils, like fork, knife, spoon that you just keep like almost in the.
Have you seen the spork
for like a
yes,
a spork, but like it's kept in like one of those little containers like that you put like your toothbrush in. You know what I'm talking about? Like something like that.
Yeah, but you probably don't want to be carrying a knife around too much.
Not
like a dull butter knife, like something.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if TSA will let you go through that, but a spork, I bet you could get through TSA with.
Absolutely, especially if you have some like kind of. If you have some powders mixed in bags along with you, and then you've got a knife, be like, who is this person?
Yeah. Jet lag, time zones. How do I handle that when they're like maybe going from like US time zone to maybe the UK and how to make those shifts like eating wise?
I feel like I had an athlete that I worked with who was very successful, and there's an app that helps you navigate the time zone change. She traveled out of the country very often on a regular basis, and I can't remember off the top of my head. Of course, you're putting me on the spot, Alex. So
well, I know. I'm sorry. If you think of it later, we'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, perfect. But other than that, hydration is key. Trying to reset that balance and giving yourself a little rest once you arrive. I feel like especially if it's vacationing for fun, you're so apt to like hop off the plane and get to it. But your body often needs that rest, especially if you've been delayed or traveling for a very extended period of time. Oftentimes too, I have athletes that come back sick. And I would say this is when I tend to really be a proponent of taking like some sort of multivitamin supplement, or for athletes that regularly take supplements, not skipping on that for that little boost.
Yeah, I've had some athletes too that travel internationally, and they would say that, I don't think this is new news by any means, but as soon as they arrived at the destination, they just adopt to the time, no matter what time it was when they left. So let's say they land at 4 p.m. local time, but it's really, 10 p.m. back home. They would just treat whatever the day looks like as soon as they get there. So even if it is challenging, they would make sure that they just adopt to whatever time it is in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easier said than done.
It is, yeah. But I think too, trying to get on like their eating schedule, snacks to kind of fill in the gaps to get you to more of the appropriate meal times, being strategic that way. But it can be challenging. And if you're going to be working out and you want to bring sports fuel with, I usually try and go like the powdered hydration mix route because that can go through TSA well, Energy Chews. And I will add, when I went to gravel camp in April, I actually shipped all of my sports fuel in advance so that I didn't have to travel with that on the airplane because I wanted to bring quite a few gels and I didn't want to, I guess I could have thrown it in my bike bag, but if you're only doing a carry-on and you only have so much like space in your little liquids thing, is you could always have your stuff sent in advance as well to kind of save you space.
I love that. Plus, I feel like for me,
entire podcast, what I was wanting to say, and this is very important, Hannah. So I'm just going to talk over you for a second here.
Hey, that's okay. You have the red carpet.
Moral of this entire podcast is you should always have a snack. on
Yeah.
hand, or
Yeah.
3 or 7.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And, if you're at a conference and you're not moving all day, obviously you don't need to eat quite as much, but try and stay active before or after things, or getting in some walk breaks, getting in that movement. So you just don't feel kind of like, how do you feel at the end of the day when you haven't moved? Like, just like,
Floppy.
yeah, like you're tired, but at the same time you're like antsy because you like didn't get that movement. And take care of yourself, be intentional, plan in advance, do your homework. And the number one thing I tell all my athletes is like, it's normal, it's life to get out of routine. The most important thing is that once you get back home, you get back into the routine. Get yourself some groceries in the house, have that be the number one, like top, like I order my groceries like while I'm traveling home. I will make sure that I have kind of a few meal plan ideas for the first few days to really get back into that routine, so that my nutrition goals haven't like been delayed in meeting them if I get out of routine.
I feel like athletes appreciate that routine once they get back so much more.
And then schedule a call with your coach too.
Yeah, we're here to support you. Ladies, thank you so much for today. This is awesome. That's a wrap on today's episode. Huge thanks to Mary and Hannah for joining me and sharing so many practical tips and ideas. Travel doesn't have to derail your fueling strategy, and it definitely doesn't have to be all or nothing. A little planning, a little flexibility, and a lot of grace can go a long way. If you picked up a few new things today, share this episode on social and tag Alex Larson Nutrition. We love hearing what resonated with you. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and leave a review for the podcast so more athletes can find us. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, fueling well isn't just for race day, it's for life.